Well, let's do this. Let's go in and start shooting. You guys ready? All right, well, let's call our model forward. Everyone welcome Natalie. Yeah, we'll clap for Natalie. Greetings. Hey, Natalie, would you stand here with me? Because I just want to point out some things that we did this morning. So, like I said, we met in the green room and we talked about makeup and we talked about hair. One of the first things that we did was we wanted to start out today with the hair up. And so nice, tight hair. A lot of the beauty shots that you'll see online or in magazines have really tight hair. After a few shoots, we're going to do hair down just so you can see the difference there. A lot of beauty shots also were concerned about the makeup. And so what I said today is I want the makeup to be, what was the term we used? Dewy? Dewy. That's a new one on me, but we wanted a dewy look, Dewey Decimal System. And but what I said is I wanted them to purposely leave me a few blemishes. And the reason why is because I want to show you how to get rid of those blemishes in Lightroom. But typically, you want to do as little work as you possibly can inside of software. So you want to try to do all of that during the makeup session. We picked out our outfit together today. So we picked this nice pink, I go pink, light pink, blouse. And then since it's all upper torso, I told her we don't care so much about what you're wearing below. So she's wearing her jeans with holy knees. Yes, perfect. So that doesn't really matter for what we're doing today. You ready?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. So I'm going to have you grab a seat right there. And since, we've got an Apple box here to make things a little more comfortable. This is a little bit more of an intro type of class. It's called an Apple box, and you can set it this way, you can set it this way, or this way. It just provides you a lot of posing options. You can sit on them, you can stand on them. So today, the whole purpose here is, see how her right foot is just kind of hanging? It's not real comfortable. So we're just going to set that there so she's got something to put her feet on. All right. First thing I want to show you is proximity to the background. So we're going to keep our lighting pretty basic initially, and I want to show you what it looks like when we're really close to the backdrop, and then what it looks like when we're a little farther away, and then maybe 5, 6, 7 feet away, maybe even 10. And actually, I'm going to have you, would you stand up for me real quick? I'm going to move in even a little bit closer. Okay, go for it. So we'll start with the soft box, just like this. And I'm not going to bring in a lot of reflectors or anything. Right now I'm just going to keep it really simple, just so you get the impact of proximity to the background. Next thing I'm going to grab is a flash. And I'm going to use the Photix setup. So most of your soft boxes will have some type of speed ring. I'm just going to mount the flash here to the speed ring. And this is called the Speedlight speed ring. That's important. A lot of your speed rings are designed for studio lights. Well, this speed ring is designed for a speed light. speed, flash, basically a small flash setup. I'm now going to turn on this flash and I'm going to set it to receive on that channel 1 group A thing. Cool, it just beeped at me, it means it's charged. I'm just going to look, it says channel 1 and group A, like that. And from a height perspective, about there. So I'm basically splitting her upper body with the middle of the softbox. Cool. Now what we'll do is I'm going to fire up Lightroom. I'm going to manage that from here. Bring up Lightroom. You can see we already took a photo of her this morning. Very nice image. And we'll start a tethered capture session. And one of the reasons why we're doing it like this is I want you guys to see what's involved in the overall process. When I say like this, I mean we're doing everything from my computer today so that you can just watch what it looks like in real life to pull something like this off. Okay, so it says no camera detected. Now it says D850 connected, and you can see here on this little bar, it's telling me that it has my ISO, my aperture, and my shutter speed. So currently my camera's set for 100th of a second at f8 and ISO 200. I'm going to change those up, and we're going to go through all of those settings that I talked about earlier. I'm going to adjust those on the camera. So first thing is ISO, so I'll push my ISO button, and I'll go to ISO 200, like I said before. Make sure I'm in manual mode, and I am, and I'll start at f5.6, and then my shutter speed, 200th of a second. This camera shoots at a 250th, but I know my slide earlier said a 200th, so I'll be consistent with my slides. Now I'm going to turn on my wireless transmitter. So I power it up, and now it says channel 1 group A, and I'll just do a quick little test. This little flash symbol here will trigger my flash. So I'm going to trigger the light, and it fired. Yeah, so we're good. And then the beep, waiting for that beep, and when the flash beeps, it means it's fully charged and ready to go again. So first picture we're going to take here is just a test. I don't know if my exposure is set up properly or not, so we'll just snap a pic. And I realize it's a little bit in the way. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. So normally I'm looking on the back of my camera, but for today, we've got it here on the screen. And what do we know about that photo? Well, it's kind of blown out, a little bright. So what we're going to do is we are going to make some adjustments. So I can do a few things. Do I want to keep this depth of field? Do I want to keep this power? So I can change my aperture, I can change my ISO, or I can change my power on the flash. Well, my flash, I forgot to tell you what I had that set for. My flash was set for quarter power. And in these settings, it's obviously too bright. So I'm going to bring this down by, I'm guessing, 2 stops. So I'm going to push here on the flash, and I'll rotate down to 16th power. I was at quarter, so I go to 8th, and now 16th. So that brings it down by 2 full stops. All right, here we go, again. Okay. Now that's looking a little bit better from an exposure perspective. Great. So let's talk about that background. So the background you can see is not quite white. Let's see, as you guys are looking at it, it'd be her left side. The left side of that backdrop is light gray, and the right side is very dark, right? And why is that happening? Why is the right side of the image very dark? Well, it's coming from her shadow, right? The flash is casting a shadow over there. And so we can help remedy that by bringing in a reflector. But for now, what I want to do is I want to keep these settings the same, and then I just want to move her farther away from that backdrop, just so you get a feel of what happens when you're farther away from the background trying to get white. I'm going to lock this into my holster here so I can walk around and use both hands. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to have you stand up, Natalie. And normally, one of the reasons why we don't have an assistant on set is because most people watching the show today won't have an assistant. So you can see everything that a photographer would have to do by themselves. And normally I don't like the model to help me out because they've got hard work. It's hard work standing in front of that camera and always being on point, and I don't want them to sweat. So never let them see a sweat. Okay, so that was about a foot away from the background. Now we're going to move about 3 feet away, so go ahead and sit down again. Same power on the flash, same everything overall. Cool. And that'll come in, and while that's loading, let's move one more time. And now we'll just move quite a distance away. Okay, grab a seat. Good. Fantastic. Okay, let's look at those images on the computer. So you can see that shooting with a white backdrop, you still have a lot of flexibility and control over the overall brightness. So this is the one that was pretty far away. Gray, we went to gray. Here's one we're closer, a little bit lighter, brighter. And then here's one we're about a foot away, and we're looking better. Earlier, before you all came in, I shot this photo right here, and we'll go full frame, just so you can see it. And it was basically the same setup with the reflector. So let's go and produce that, huh? Let's go and see if we can make that type of brightness on the background using our first scenario, our first lighting scenario. I've got my notes here, just make sure I've got this. Butterfly lighting. So we're going to do a softbox a little bit high, and then we're going to use reflectors a little bit lower to fill in the shadows. Cool? All right, go ahead and stand up. We're going to move you back. Sometimes when you're working in the studio, it's nice to have a hard floor and put everything on wheels. So like if your posing stools can be on wheels, you can just move things around easy and quick. All right, go ahead and grab a seat. Great. And so what I'm looking at now is I'm just making sure she's centered in the backdrop. Perfect. And now we're going to start with this clamshell setup. Butterfly setup. So for that scenario, we typically want the flash to be higher. And you'll notice I'm on a light stand here. And so in order to get the flash higher, if I was to get it exactly above the center line of her head, that means the light stand has to be right in front of her, okay? So we can't quite accomplish that with this type of setup. Another way to accomplish that is to get something called a C-stand, and that's what I've got in the back with that other kind of beauty dish, with a boom arm. That allows you to actually get the flash out over the subject above them, and then the stand is off to the side. We'll shoot with the C-stand later. For now, we're just going to see how well we can do. And I'm just basically going to shoot right around the light stand itself. Okay, I just realized I didn't have you close enough to the background. We're going to get a little closer. Fine tuning. Okay, great. So all the settings the same as earlier. And we'll do that. Yeah, great. And let's just see what we get for this first shot. Now I did change position of the light, I changed distance, so I'm anticipating I might have to change the power of the flash. We'll see what it looks like in the final image. And back to a question we had earlier, if I had a light meter, I could just hold the light meter right on her face, click it, and it would say, F8, set it for F8, done. Okay, now I'm gonna shoot a little bit lower like I described, not exactly at her head, but just slightly lower. Go ahead and look right at the camera. Excellent. And let's see what we look like here in the computer. All right. Good on the background. Overall, though, it's not quite bright enough. Would you guys agree? So we need some more power. So I've got three options. I could increase ISO. I could reduce my aperture. In other words, a bigger aperture lets in more light. Or I can increase the power on the flash. I think what I'm going to do is increase the power on the flash. I'm at 16th power, so that to me looks like I need to go brighter by at least one stop. So I'm at 16th, you can probably guess what I'm going to go to, 8th. So we go up to 8th power, I push OK, that sets it, and we take a shot again. Nice. These are big files, so they take a little bit longer to load into the software, but that's looking pretty good now. So we're getting the background's looking whiter, which is great. I haven't blown out her skin on her forehead, which is fantastic. So now as I look at building this photo, I need to, we talked about the beauty shots as kind of a flatter light overall. We see a lot of modeling around her face, light, like below her cheeks, we're getting some shadows, and then definitely underneath her chin, we're getting some shadows. And we're not always looking for that, so we need to fill in the shadows below, and then eventually on the sides as well, and we're gonna build towards that. So I'll pull in a reflector, and what I have here is just a simple reflector holder of an arm, and one side of the reflector is gold, and the other side of the reflector is white, and we're going to use that white reflector today. This arm, this reflector arm you can buy, but you don't necessarily have to buy. So you can just literally lean it up against a pillow or a chair or a stool, anything like that. Or you could even sometimes have the model hold it. I will do that quite often is I'll have the model hold the reflector like this. And when you do that, just make sure they kind of bring their arms in like this. It gets a nice look on the shoulders, and she's not like holding it out like that. You can see what happens. When you hold it out like that, it's like, you don't want that. You want, not. Again, it's all about the sounds. I know, I'm laughing to myself. All right, so we're now going to use this down below. And we're going to bring it in almost to where it's uncomfortable. Okay. We'll start with that. You can see now you can start to see some of the interference that we have when you're using just straight light stands. I can't get this reflector actually in close enough to her so it's centered. If I had a boom arm, well then I can actually move it closer, and we have the flash right above her and that below her. But that's all right. We're close enough. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the next shot, now we should fill in a lot of that shadow. Oh yeah. And I'm just going to look at the difference between the two of these. I'm going to go to select this one. And we're going to go to C for compare. And the one on the left is the one that we just took, and the one on the right is the previous one. So you can see now we've started to fill in a lot of that shadow information. That's good, but it's still not good enough, so we're still going to build on this today, but we're pretty close. And when we get to our post-processing in the next segments, I'm going to show you how to brighten up that background in Lightroom to make it really, truly white. Here's something else I'm thinking. We're about, what are we, 1.5 feet away from that background? Just to fine-tune it, I'm going to push her back even closer to that background, so her back is maybe almost against the paper, and we're going to shoot that scene again. All right. Here you go. Let's try that. And I'll push everything in even closer. Good. Feels a little tight in there, huh? A little bit. Yeah. All right. Look right at the camera. 1, 2, 3. Back up slightly. I don't have a lot of space to work with here. Everything's getting into the lens area. 1, 2, 3. Great. Okay, we'll go back to the computer. Good. And as I got closer to the background, now you see the light on the background is getting even whiter. And then it'll all come together once we do the post-processing. You'll see we make that background nice, bright, and white.